Hello folks, it's Meandering Mike in the man cave of madness. It's in mid-afternoon. We're returning to our game of Maharaja, turn 12. We're going to finish up the Colonial Powers. One little correction on the Mughals' turn. I miscounted. They needed to spread out a little more. They had exactly 18 armies left. They had lost one and they had started with 19. So instead of having 2 armies in aggregate, they had to spread out. This is one of the few places they could reach there. So they are spread out 1 army per all throughout there to get their 2 points for Maharaja, which we already recorded there. So now we're going to continue with the Portuguese, Dutch, and British. The French aren't arriving until next turn. The Portuguese have a leader, Albuquerque, and 2 armies in the Arabian Sea. The Dutch will get 2 in the Indian Ocean. The British also 2 in the Arabian Sea. Technically, those don't show up until their own turn in that reinforcements phase. It is possible for there to be battle out at sea between the colonial powers. It is at the discretion, they can coexist, and at the discretion of the players whose turn it is, they could stay in the sea area and attack. So right now, technically the British aren't there. The Portuguese couldn't stay here and attack them. But I went ahead and put them on the board to account for them, so to remember. All right. So Portuguese are next. If you remember, they lost their factory here. The big fight, the Maharajas had jumped out there and hit that, and then the Mughals came in and blew the Maharajas away and captured Gujarat in the first part of their major invasion, and then they spread out all across there. So, point-wise, again, the Portuguese can get points for destroying Muslim armies, and then their factories, those are any game turn for the colonial powers. At the end of their game turn, they can score those factory points. So obviously the Muslims are too far away. They're inland in the highlands. The Portuguese actually could. Let's see here. No. So they can move the leader 3. They could go 1 by sea to the Indian Ocean, 1 by sea to the Bay of Bengal, and then they could land on either of these guys, but they can't get inland. If they had been closer, they could have, say, landed at Orissa and moved inland and attacked. But I don't think it's worth the risk for the points to pursue that kind of thing, at least not at this point. When a nice target of opportunity comes up to do that. Instead, they want to figure out, what do I want to do factory-wise? They'd like to have them on all coasts. They could move 1 army over, have it out at sea, and give a factory to the Mughals. Being friendly, the same green guys, they would agree, and they would take that factory. They could move over and themselves occupy Orissa, build a factory there. That could position them to try to attack Muslims later. But again, fighting in the highlands is more difficult. So what do they want to do? Now, it is more difficult. They do not have a major invasion or anything like that. No. Turn 12, just the Mughals. So Albuquerque is just a leader. They don't get 2 turns. They don't really want to fight. Even though they're pissed that the Maharajas have jumped out here and hit them in Gujarat. Jumping on 2 armies doesn't... Well, let's see. They're colonials. They get to add 1 to the die roll, plus the leader. So they could actually hit guys in the highlands on a 4, 5, or 6. Whereas in the clear, with a leader, they'll be adding 1. Normally hit someone in a 5 or 6, for example. Getting 1 for the leader, 1 for being a colonial. Yeah, they could hit in a nice, adding 2, hitting a 3 or greater, right? 3, 4, 5. Adding 2 to the dice, hitting a 3 would hit a guy normally on 5. The advantage of taking a spot here is if the Muslims are trying to wheel in and take some of this stuff, they could be near the Muslims for a later turn. Remember that this guy here is on either one, so this factory would count for here. This factory could count for the Arabian Sea. So they could split up. Factories can be left by themselves. They're obviously more vulnerable when you do that. Those naughty Sinhalese there might be eyeing this factory. I'm trying to decide if I, move 2 here with the leader, attack it, or normally the guy's going to need a 6 back to hit the colonials. So I think they just go in with 1. They can actually sail right in from there. This guy can go 1, 2, be floating out at sea. The plan is to end the factory phase. Go ahead and give them when they're in Bengal. So he could move this army up here to gratefully increase the odds. If he gets lucky and kills it, he does some. The Sinhalese might be a little scared with these guys right here. Yeah, I think the Colonial Powers is going to rely a little bit on their reputation. Now, technically the Chola could retreat to Mysore. Well, that's the question. This province is controlled by them, whether the factory, but it's not an army. For retreat purposes, does it say an army? Or, let's see, so combat, where the defender retreats. Don't you never retreat to the area adjacent land area which are vacant and not adjacent to an area occupied by the nation's armies. So technically, he would be able to retreat to Mysore. Now, if the leader had started here, he could have moved in this way. One unit could come through here, and the leader, let's see, he was here. 1, 2, 3. No, he can't do a a roundabout thing. Yep. Well, they'll just have to hit. And remember, they're hitting on a 4, 5, or 6. They're colonials getting +1. You know, a 6 because he's in the Highlands, adding 1 for the leader. So 2 rolls for a 4, 5, 6, which is, if you remember these probabilities, I keep mentioning it, that's 1/2 plus 1/2, which equals a whole, but you got to subtract the chance out that they both hit, which is overkill. So that's 1/2 times 1/2, which is a quarter. So it's really only a 75% chance of hitting. Right. 75% chance of killing that guy. Getting 1 or 2 hits on him, which kills him off. Even though it sounds like, hey, it's 2 chances at 50-50. And again, you can figure out the reverse. Well, what's the chance of missing? You got 2 dice that can miss on a 50-50. And if they both miss, an and relationship, you multiply together 1/2 times 1/2 is 1/4. So there's a 1/4 chance they will miss. It's amazing how the math works out. So, enough math lectures of probability. Let's do the attacking. All right, so 2 attacking black dice, adding 2, 1 defending dice. The defending dice is only going to hit on a 6 because it's against colonials. These guys would normally do 6, but they're adding 2, so 4, 5s, or 6s will hit. Oh, blood. So it's a good thing that they brought this extra guy in. Otherwise, they wouldn't have taken it. Well, actually, if they were all dead, I think the leader survives. It's if the leader ends up in a square by himself, Portuguese, ends up by himself with other enemy armies, he dies. But this is what we got. We've got him, took of that. All right, so now it's the factory phase. So they can build one here. They say, oh, sure, the Mughals will take that. And they're going to say, hey, Mughals, you can have arms. And since they still have, you got to have an army on the landmass, remember? And a factory sharing them. If he'd lost both of these, he couldn't give this guy the arms. All right? So, again, you don't put it on the board right away. They get it in their next turn. So I don't want to put it... I'm going to put it on the turn 13 turn chart here as a reminder that green arms are being given out. Well, yeah, maybe I should put it here on turn 13 there. Let's just do that. All right. So the Portuguese have gone. We don't score their points yet for those things because if it had been killing Muslims, they would have got those immediately. But these, you know, they could be thwarted by the plans of the Dutch and or the British. So it is now the Dutch turn. The Dutch, the last hope for yellow. I mean, they still got some points from the Sinhalese here. It's just factories, nothing but factories. Factories. The base points. Remember, couldn't find anywhere on here where there was the second Dutch dude showing up. And I didn't find it in any errata, but I'm giving them an extra army for next turn, so they can actually have a chance to get up to 3. Potentially next turn the Sinhalese could come over here and smack that guy down. Or the Dutch could show up and kill that factory and build one there themselves. Wow, Dutch. They might want to, I don't know, do you spread out and go for those points? Because they could occupy Orissa. But of course, there's, you know, all sorts of people that could spank on them. You could hang out near here to give something to the Sinhalese. Again, that's actually not a bad idea, because then the Sinhalese could get arms next turn when they decide to attack. So, but if they only land with one army, they could land in a thing which, well, they're already only hit on a 6. So it actually doesn't help them defensively any. You can't get worse than being hit on a 6. So but, you know, if you build a factory there, the factory then will defend at a 6 defense instead of the 5 or 6. So let us do that. Let us move in here into Orissa. Here, yes. Andhra. Well, let's move into Andhra. Making our, the factory is going to be a little stronger. Glare. Have to figure out the best way to get rid of that. We hang out here in the Indian Ocean. Now, do we want to build it here where it's better defended? Away where they can submit if they need to. I think if they submit, though, then the guys can go on to finish off the factory. Here, however, if they're going to go on an attack, let's see, of course, the Colonial Powers could come out here and spank on this. And again, you can't build the factory there. That's one of the not allowed spots. Let's put it on the island. It's just more isolated that way. So they can build 2 factories, factory phase. Yeah, they had no fighting. They stayed out at sea. They took over this here. It's the Dutch's turn. They're going to give a factory to the Sinhalese. They're going to build a factory in their own place in Andhra. And they are done. So now we're at the British turn. The British get their 2 armies in the Arabian Sea, correct? I think I double-checked that. Turn 12, yes. And they're going to get more and more armies coming up. So the Brits get points. Also, only 4 factories. But they have the potential to get a lot more because they can eventually build up to 6 factories. And they've got the potential for Raj points eventually. Now, there are very few unoccupied right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's currently 4. Oh, 5. So potentially the Brits, in their counting Raj points, can get 5, counted additional, the unoccupied areas. They could potentially take over 2 areas with their armies. If they made someone submit, potentially, and become an ally, they could. It doesn't look like a chance to get with 9 this turn, but in the next turn or 2, gotta watch out. All right, so the Brits could do stuff over here. Someone got bonus points for killing certain factories. Was it? Ooh, the Sikhs get points for killing Mughal armies. Who got points for killing? Was it? Boy, Afghans aren't on yet. No. Muslim armies. I thought someone got points for destroying someone's factories. Am I missing that? Am I not seeing that? Ah, no. That's the British. I get points for destroying factories. Bingo, right there. The Marathas get points for destroying British factories or Mughal armies. So, that's something to remember. The Marathas here still got some strength. I remember those are Muslims. Yeah, they did lose quite a bit here. That big fight in Gujarat, right? But they still have 5 armies. So I wouldn't mind hitting back, like if the Brits took over here, kill a factory, or hit some of those Mughals. So that's, I'm thinking of the Brits. Think of the Brits, but yeah, they gotta know that the Marathas, like, don't like them. Wow. Purple. Now I believe that leader's gonna go away, as will that leader next turn in their turns. The Rajputs on turn 13 can actually score points. 2 for Rajputana, Agra, Delhi, Gujarat. Now they only have 2 armies. They're going to grow 1. Rajputana and Agra. So Agra's right next to him. Rajputana, that's worth 2. They certainly want to take that. And Delhi. So they could stay in Delhi, throw 2 armies into there, try to take Rajputana. They could try to grow. The Brits can, try to take the coastal area here to get next to him to help him out. do the Brits want to try to speed grow factories, or do they want to try to concentrate on beating people up? Oh yeah, the Cholas, remember, I just double checking. Yes, the Cholas cannot submit. So the Cholas getting eliminated there, that's legit. They couldn't submit. All right, decision time. What will the Brits do? Yeah, I don't think they want to expose themselves to the Marathas just yet. All right, the purple, 42. Blue is a close competitor, 64. They're in the lead, but they're not there. I think the British are going to score a lot more points than them, but poor green there. Well, with the Mughals have some chance to score some major points here coming up. This is turn 12. The only person that's scoring points on turn 12 is the Rajputs and potentially Colonial Powers. Oh, decisions. Do they go over just to occupy that territory to build a factory to start scoring those points? Tempting the Mughals to come and... No, it's not the Mughals. Who was it? Wow, I've already forgotten. My brain. Yeah, it was the Marathas. The Marathas, right? For each British factory. All right, so this is away from the Marathas now. We're going to do that. 1, 2, 3. They're going to go in there. They're going to go into Sind. They're going to risk it. Adding one, hitting on a 4, 5, 6, only being hit on a 6. 50 chance of hitting on the first one. The Mughal might probably retreat. He might stay and fight or not. Probably not. But yeah, maybe he gets lucky the first time. So yeah, we're going to do that. All right, so Black Attack Dice adding 1 in the Sind. Oh, no. Yeah, that's the attacker. That's the defender. He did not hit because it's a colonial power. He would have hit anyway, but Mughal lost 1. He succeeded in taking that. They walked in there. The Brits, who can build up to 6 factories, max 2 per turn, they're working on it. All right. So that was all the people's turns. Now we're going to score the points. We're at 23 minutes here. We'll finish this up, and we're going to call it there. We're not going to go into the next turn. I might do one later tonight, after midnight, but I'm not going to do it right now. So scoring them points. Let's start with green first and work our way over. Boy, I'm out to remember what those green points were. That was the middle of the turn points for somebody doing something. That was Maharaja for the Mughals in their turn. Right. So the Mughals themselves, turn 12, don't get any points. The Portuguese have 3 factories now. They lost 1. They built 2 more. But they're on all 3 coasts. This guy is considered on the Arabian coast, the Indian coast, like I said, the west, the south, and the east. There, so that's 3 points for having things on 3 coasts. 3 armies, that's 6. Right? Is 8, is 31, and there was no points. Mid-turn on turn 12. There would be a bunch of points potentially on turn 13 there. And they have the arms ready to use to bring on during the reinforcement phase. All right. So that was green. Purple will score up next. The Cholas are gone. No more Cholas. Put them back in the box. The Rajputs are one of the few guys that actually gets normal turn 2. And they're actually in Delhi. And they took Delhi. There it is, Delhi. You can see it. Delhi, Delhi, Delhi. All right. Things are falling all over. So 2 points for them. Plus 2. And the British getting their points are on 2 coasts. So that's 2 bonus points in the 2 factories. So that's 4. All right. Plus 4 is 6, is 48. Yellow. The Sinhalese have both Lanka and Sinhala. That's 4 points. They're finally getting some points again. And the Dutch managed to do their 2 factories onto 2 coasts. So 2 plus 2 is 4. Is 8, is 72. And the Blues, we have the Marathas and the Muslims. The French aren't on yet. No turn 12 points for either of those. So absolutely 0 points for the blue guy on this last turn. So, yep, another 0. Continuing at 49. So we have, the purple did not quite catch up to him yet. So 31 for the green, who went up by 8. 48 by the purple, went up by 6. 49, the blue is just stagnant right now. But they will, some good looking points coming up for turn 13. And 8 points for the yellow at 72. So there we are, folks. That's 27 minutes in. That was the end of turn 12. We're going to point that sword on towards turn 13, which there's all sorts of guys coming on, more double British. And I believe that's another Mughal leader. Sikhs are showing up. The French show up. That's not a French leader. They eventually get one. Turn 14, Duplex. Dupli. So it should be interesting, but we're going to call it quits there. That was another turn of Maharaja, Meandering Mike in the Man Cave of Madness here in mid-afternoon. Well, it's just about dinner time coming up here. Well, not quite, but late afternoon. So saying goodbye. Take care, everyone.